The night Jonathan Hale lost everything began with a sky full of lightning, as if the heavens themselves were warning him that his world was about to shatter. People looked at him and saw a billionaire, the youngest tech titan of the decade, a visionary whose name once lit up skyscrapers in neon and echoed in business magazines. But Jonathan knew the truth. His success was built on brilliance, yes, but also on pressure, loneliness, and decades of never allowing himself to feel anything but forward momentum. And now, as he sat in his 26th floor office with his face buried in trembling hands, that momentum had finally slammed into a wall. Investors were pulling out. A massive data breach had wiped out not just millions, but the very core of his company's infrastructure. Stocks crashed faster than analysts could speak. Lawsuits, threats, media storms, they drowned him from every side. In the span of 6 hours, the empire he had built with blood and nights of no sleep collapsed like a house of cards in a hurricane. Phones buzzed non-stop. Emails flashed red with the word, urgent. Staff panicked. But Jonathan, he felt nothing. Just a cold, hollow ache that settled behind his ribs like lead. He didn't even remember how long he sat there, staring blankly at the skyline of a city he once ruled, now feeling as though every window mirrored a man the world no longer needed. His COO burst into the room screaming about losses. His legal team called begging him to respond. Reporters clogged the lobby demanding comments about the billionaire who wasn't a billionaire anymore. But it was the silence after they all left that finally broke him. When he tried to stand, his legs buckled. He grabbed the desk to steady himself and whispered, "How did everything go so wrong?" He had sacrificed birthdays, holidays, friendships, even the woman he once wanted to marry. He gave all of himself to this company, more than anyone had asked, and yet it abandoned him the moment the tide turned. The loneliness hit with the force of a crashing wave. Not a single person checked on him. No friend called. No family was left. For the first time in years, Jonathan felt truly, devastatingly human. Finally he rose, walking through the empty office halls where the lights flickered like dying stars. Employees had already begun clearing the desks, whispering rumors about bankruptcy. His chest tightened. He wanted to scream, to punch a wall, to break something, anything, to match the destruction inside him. But all he did was keep walking. Down the elevator, across the deserted lobby, out into the rain. He didn't even notice he was trembling until a voice called gently from behind him, "Sir, are you okay?" Jonathan turned, expecting another reporter, another critic, another vulture circling what remained of his pride. But instead he saw Miguel, the building's overnight janitor, a man in his late 50s with tired eyes and hands roughened by decades of work. Jonathan had seen him for years but never truly looked at him. Now Miguel stood under the dim lobby lights with a mop in one hand and a look of genuine concern. "Rough night, huh?" the janitor asked softly. Jonathan tried to respond but his throat tightened. The billionaire who had once commanded entire boardrooms couldn't even form a sentence. Miguel nodded as if he understood everything without being told. "Sometimes," he said, "when a storm hits, it ain't trying to destroy you. It's trying to clear your path." Jonathan let out a broken laugh. "My path is gone." Miguel shook his head. "Maybe it's just hidden." For a moment, something warm flickered in Jonathan's chest. Hope or disbelief, he couldn't tell. Miguel continued sweeping, humming quietly, giving Jonathan the strange comfort of being near someone who wasn't judging him. And then, just as the billionaire turned to leave, Miguel called out again. "Sir, wait, you forgot something." Jonathan frowned. He wasn't carrying anything, but Miguel rushed toward him holding a bent, slightly dirty piece of paper. "This was under your chair upstairs." It looked important. Jonathan took it absent-mindedly and walked into the rain, shoving the wet paper into his pocket without looking. He didn't know it yet, but that single, forgotten sheet, the one the janitor had saved, would soon change the course of his entire life. And as the thunder cracked overhead, Jonathan whispered to himself, "Maybe tomorrow, something will make sense." Jonathan barely slept that night, and when morning crept through the curtains of his penthouse, now likely to be seized by creditors, he felt like a shell of the man he once was. Coffee tasted like nothing. His reflection looked like someone aged by decades in a single night. His inbox was overflowing with chaos. But through the fog in his mind, something poked at his memory, the paper Miguel had handed him. The one he had shoved into his pocket and forgotten. With a sigh, he reached for his soaked suit jacket, pulling out the crumpled sheet. At first he didn't recognize it. Then his heart stopped. It was a proposal he'd written months ago. An idea so radical, so groundbreaking, he hadn't dared show it to anyone but his most trusted advisor. An idea to revolutionize secure data storage by using a decentralized, quantum-encrypted offline backup system that couldn't be hacked because it didn't exist on any device long enough to be breached. Jonathan had written it during a late-night burst of inspiration, then stuffed it into a folder during a meeting, and apparently dropped it. He had dismissed the idea as impossible at scale. Too expensive, too complex, too risky. But now, looking at the disasters caused by the breach, he saw it in a new light. It wasn't a risk. It was a solution, not for his old company. It was too late for that, but for a new one. One built from ashes, one built from pain, one built from truth. His mind sparked like a flame in a dry forest. He grabbed a pen, started scribbling calculations, diagrams, new possibilities. For the first time since everything fell apart, adrenaline surged through him. He worked for hours without stopping. It felt like the universe had thrown him a life raft at the exact second he was drowning. By evening, he had a full plan, a lean startup, a product prototype, and a pitch powerful enough to shake any investor awake. Only one problem. No investors wanted to be anywhere near him. His reputation was radioactive. But Jonathan had something he never had before, humility, and a strange trust in the janitor who had unknowingly saved him. So he returned to the office building the next morning. Employees avoided him. Security hesitated to let him inside. But there, mopping the lobby floor like always, was Miguel. The man looked up and smiled. "You look better today." Jonathan approached slowly. "Miguel, that paper, it saved me." "Good," the janitor said, shrugging. "Everyone deserves a second chance, especially the ones who forget they're human." Jonathan swallowed hard. "Would you have coffee with me?" Miguel laughed. "Sir, I'm a janitor. You don't need." "I do," Jonathan interrupted. "I need someone honest, someone who saw me at my worst and didn't walk away." They sat in the building's tiny break room drinking vending machine coffee, and Jonathan told Miguel everything, his idea, his plan, his fears. Miguel listened the way no board member ever had. When Jonathan finished, the janitor leaned back and said, "If you believe in it, then it's not over. You just need one yes." One yes. Jonathan repeated those words all day. He pitched to small, angel investors. All rejected him. He pitched again. Rejected. Again. Rejected. But he didn't stop. Miguel's words kept echoing. On the 12th pitch, exhausted, voice hoarse, hands shaking, he finally received a yes. A small yes. A humble yes. But a yes powerful enough to flip the script of his entire story. With the funding, Jonathan built a small team, a team of people who believed in the vision, not the headlines. Miguel visited sometimes, always with a warm smile and quiet support. Within 9 months, Jonathan's new technology stopped a cyber attack on a hospital's patient database, a story that went viral worldwide. Investors begged for meetings, governments requested contracts, tech giants offered partnerships, and in less than a year, the man who had lost everything returned, not as a billionaire obsessed with power, but as a leader shaped by loss, humility, and a janitor's kindness. One evening, during a press conference celebrating his comeback, journalists asked him the question everyone wanted answered: "What turned your life around?" Jonathan smiled, searching the crowd until he found Miguel standing quietly in the back. A man who reminded me that sometimes the smallest kindness can save an entire life, he replied. The room fell silent, cameras flashed, and Jonathan stepped off the stage to hand Miguel the very first honorary share certificate in the new company. You didn't just find a piece of paper, Jonathan said. You found my future. Miguel wiped away tears. No, sir, you just needed someone to believe you still had one. And that is how a billionaire regained far more than money. He regained himself. Viewers, if this story touched your heart, make sure you subscribe, because we bring you real, emotional, life-changing stories that stay with you long after the video ends.